Welcome back and thank you for joining me. We'll continue with example 2 in lesson U1L8 polynomial division, and we are focusing on long division here. So this time we're looking into the division of the polynomial expression negative 19x squared plus 6x cubed plus 18x minus 20 by 2x minus 5. So first let's set up the division. When you set up the division, it's very important that we list the terms from highest to lowest degree. The highest degree term is 6x cubed, so we'll start with 6x cubed. Next, we have the second degree term, which is negative 19x squared. Remember, these signs will, in front of the term, belong to the term and travel with the term everywhere in the expression. And then we have the first degree term of 18x. And lastly, we have the constant term of negative 20. We'll write the brackets. And now we're going to write the divisor of 2x minus 5. And reserve the spot here. Reserve the spot for the quotient right above the dividend. Now, a helpful memory aid to use in polynomial division is what we call the DMSB. So divide the leading term, multiply divisor by the quotient, subtract, bring down the next term. So if that is helpful to you, use it. So if you remember the process, which is fairly easy and I gotta admit a little bit of fun, then just continue doing what works for you. So we're gonna look at 2x and 6x cubed, and we're gonna say that 2x goes into 6x cubed. Let's divide. 3x squared times, remember how we find this, 6 divided by 2, 3, x cubed divided by x power 1, x squared. So we're going to write 3x squared here. Now we'll take 3x squared, so we are in letter M this time, and multiply it by 2x minus 5. Whatever we get in the expanded form will go right under the polynomial. So we have 3x squared times 2x, 6x cubed. And 3x squared times negative 5 is negative 15x squared. Draw a long line, subtract, keep this in brackets, very important because you are subtracting both terms. Now we have 6x cubed minus 6x cubed, no x cubed. Negative 19x squared minus negative 15 means plus 15, so x squared, and we have negative 4x squared. We'll bring down the next term, which is 18x. It's a positive 18x, so we've got to make sure we write that. And now again, same process. We check to see how many times 2x go into the first term in our polynomial, negative 4x squared. So we have negative 4x squared divided by 2x. That would be negative 4 over negative 2, over positive 2, negative 2x squared over xx. So negative 2x is going right here. Again, same process. We're going to take negative 2x and multiply it by 2x minus 5. Expand. Negative 2x times 2x, negative 4x squared. And negative 2x times negative 5 is positive 10x. Draw the line. Subtract both terms. And we have negative 4x squared minus negative 4x squared, 0x squared. And 18x minus positive 10x is 8x. Time to bring down negative 20. And again, same process. We'll check how many times 2x go into 8x. So always the first terms. So you can definitely do this in your head, like mentally. It's not that difficult. That was for the purpose of explaining it initially. 8x over 2x equals 4, so that means that 2x goes into 8x 4 times. And that makes it a little bit easier to see because you can write 8x as 4 2x's, as you can see, right? So we continue with the next step. We multiply number 4 by the divisor again, 2x minus 5. and we multiply 4 by 2x, we get 8x. We multiply 4 by negative 5, negative 20, and we subtract again. 8x minus 8x is 0x. Negative 20 minus negative 20 is 0. So that tells us that the remainder is equal to 0. So we're writing the division statement now. And as you can see, we ran out of room. But we're going to make some room by kind of cheating here a little bit. I'm going to make this a bit smaller. All right. And this would be 6x cubed minus 19x squared plus 18x minus 20 divided by 2x minus 5 equals 3x squared minus 2x plus 4 plus remainder is 0, and we'll have to divide this by 2x minus 5, which really doesn't add value to it, so we may as well not write it. I'm going to leave it here for now, but we don't normally have to write this. And I'm going to rewrite this whole thing one more time because I want us to see something kind of interesting that we're going to have to use in the upcoming lessons. In the next lesson, by the way. So this is the division statement. Let me rewrite the same thing in here. Now, as you can see, in this case, we have a remainder of 0. So you have a division, you have an expression here. If you multiply both sides by 2x minus 5, then you will get this. And this will turn into 6x cubed minus 19x squared plus 18x minus 20 equals 2x minus 5 multiplied by 3x squared minus 2x plus 4. Obviously, the remainder is equal to 0, so there is nothing else to write here. So in other words, we're going to say again one more time that when the remainder is equal to 0, the divisor and the quotient will be the factors of the polynomial expression. Now let's continue with another example. This is slightly different than what we were doing so far. We have the polynomial expression 6x cubed. We're going to rewrite this in correct order. Minus 4x squared. We have x term negative 9x minus 3. And this time we are dividing by a second degree polynomial. So this is what we're going to do here. We're starting again with the highest degree term, which is 2x squared. Now, the next term should be the x term, which we don't see here. So we're going to write 0x. This is going to serve us as a placeholder in polynomial division so that we can just follow the order without having to think very hard where I place the terms. And then minus 3. Going to reserve the spot here for the answer or the quotient. And we'll start the process in the exact same way. 2x squared goes into 6x cubed. And you can do this in your head as I mentioned before. And we're going to say that 6 divided by, we're going to say 6 divided by 2, that's a 3. And x cubed divided by x squared is x. Now we'll take 3x and multiply with every term in this divisor. So first we have 3x multiplied by 2x squared is 6x cubed. 3x divided by 0x is 0x squared. 3x divided by negative 3 is negative 9x. We'll subtract. And now we have 6x cubed minus 6x cubed, 0x cubed. Negative 4x squared minus 0x squared, negative 4x squared. Negative 9x minus negative 9x equals 0x. Bring negative 3 down. Again, same process. How many times does 2x squared go into negative 4x squared? So we go negative 4 over 2, so that's negative 2. And then x squared and x squared divide to 1, so just negative 2. And now we'll multiply negative 2 by every term in the divisor. So negative 2 times 2x squared equals negative 4x squared. Negative 2 times 0x is 0x. And negative 2 times negative 3 is positive 6. Now, in case you're wondering, do I write plus 0x or minus 0x? Think about it. Would that really matter? Right? So either or is fine. I like to keep things positive in general, wherever possible. So subtract. And now we have negative 4x squared minus negative 4x squared, 0x squared. 0x minus 0x is 0x. And negative 3 minus positive 6 is negative 9. Now, 2x squared no longer goes into the rest of the expression. We don't have any more terms to bring down, obviously. So we're going to say that this will be the remainder. Now, what would have happened if we didn't actually place or set up a placeholder for the missing term x in here? So a common mistake that can happen is forgetting that when you're multiplying 3x by 2x squared, this would be fine. Then you multiply 3x by negative 3, and people tend to list it right next to the first term. But remember that 3x times negative 3 is an x term, so you cannot have it work with an x squared term. So that's why you need a placeholder, okay? Now we have to identify the dividend. So the dividend, or px, is equal to 6x cubed minus 4x squared minus 9x minus 3. Now, next we have to identify the divisor. So dx equals 2x squared minus 3. Now, the quotient qx is the answer, 3x minus 2. And the remainder, in our case, would be equal to a constant of negative 9. So next we have a thinking question, and for the thinking question, we're going to look into it together in our next video. And as always, thank you for learning with me, and bye for now.